All right, good evening everyone, and welcome to session 1 of our Career and Workforce Readiness series. Today we're going to talk about something just as important as technical skills, which is how to professionally think and operate. And a lot of this is going to be mindset shift and change. I'm going to focus on a specific period, at least these first 2 sessions that we're going to discuss. The idea is to help you start thinking about your career journey after this training is concluded, as you transition into your new role, in this case in IT, but any role that you're going to find yourself into, to really help you. And I really want to focus in on the first 90 days, because your first 90 days are really going to shape your reputation. I honestly believe that success is built on small daily decisions, and I truly believe that today's decision to plan your career is a step toward your future success. And I want to just congratulate you on being here, investing in your future, investing in your education, and taking the time to be a part of that. As part of the welcome, everything that we are going to do over these next 6 sessions is really designed to teach you the skills that you need to be successful in your career. Recently I asked at an event that I was speaking at to a bunch of young adults, 16 to 24-year-olds, I asked them this question: what is something that will get you fired? And a lot of the things that they said were not showing up on time, bad attitude, not doing good work. What I found fascinating was they knew that the behaviors and the issues that would get them fired, but none of them said it was because of the skills. You see, the skills are what's going to get you hired, but what's going to keep you employed is all of this other stuff, and that's what I'm going to teach you about. So while you're learning skills, I'm going to help you navigate the workplace, kind of the other stuff, if you will, to keep you hired and then to help you thrive. The principles that we're going to cover are not just for today, they're going to be for your career, and they're going to help you stand out. And I believe this is the greatest time and opportunity for your career. The options before you are amazing. And really the opportunity for you to shine is no greater, better opportunity, because I believe the bar has been lowered. So many people are just putting in basics to get ahead. You're going to really thrive. So while this is a great field that you're going into, in this case, information technology and cybersecurity, but no matter what career you find yourself going into, a way for you to really stand out is to apply the principles that I'm going to be teaching you. And that's why this is so important for you to know and to understand. Knowing that we are going to teach you over these sessions career success. And I mentioned that this is the best time of opportunity, and really where everything is with AI, cybersecurity, IT in general, this is a great opportunity to really help yourself stand out. And so I'm going to really help you come up with a plan and skills that you need for success. Now, part of that process is to give you those steps and to help you to stand out and to really prepare you for success from day one is a multi-step program called Career and Workforce Readiness. Now, each time before our session, you're going to be receiving the lessons that go with that program. But this was written to fill in gaps, answer questions that we just won't have time to go over during our sessions here. But it's a resource that's going to help you later on when you're on the job, when you have questions about communication, problem solving, etiquette. What do you do in these types of situations? That's what the Career and Workforce Readiness program was designed to do. And there are multiple modules in that process. The first one is the pathway to purpose, is understanding what it is you want to do in your career. The second module is mastering the job market, to really help you stand out in that job market. But the ones that are going to help you really thrive going forward are going to be in module 3, which is professionalism and practice, and really number 4, which is navigating teamwork, conflict, and expertise. The last one is supercritical digital citizenship. We're going to spend a lot of time discussing the importance of this over our discussions, and only because so much of this is critical to your ongoing success. So these are online habits and practices that you need to take advantage of. And so I wanted to start off with that. Now, when you see the student versus workplace mindset, I don't want you to get lost in that, because some of you have jobs, some of you have jobs in the past, you're currently working, depending on what role. If that's you, I don't want this term student to throw you off, because it's really about principles and mindsets. Think about the job that you have, or the job that you're going to be going into. You will have earned the opportunity to get into that role, and you were hired into a role in a position to solve a problem. And what you may not realize is that every job posting is saying to you, from an organizational standpoint, hey, we have a problem and we need somebody to help solve it. Now the question is, how do you show up in a way that builds trust, opportunity, and growth from day one? You see, why I say student to workplace mindset is this, is we spent years learning a system in school and in education. You see, in school, success is clearly defined. You have assignments, you have rubrics, which are tests and papers and all these other things. You have deadlines to meet, and if you do those things, you receive a certain grade. In the workplace, especially in certain fields that you may be going into, for example, IT and things like that, success is often unwritten. It's not clearly defined. It's not always easily defined. Managers, especially now, managers are expecting you to think ahead, notice issues in advance, and begin to really communicate proactively. So the mindset shift, if you see it on the screen, is really one from a permission-based, when is it due, what do I do, how are the steps? And the system is different than what most of us were used to, or what you have been just accustomed to now, or may already be a part of, to a more of a workplace. And that workplace mindset shift is really about ownership-based. What's needed? What is it that they need from me, and how can I provide that? And that's an anticipation, anticipating the next move, as opposed to being told exactly what you need to do. So that's why I talked about earlier, don't let the word student throw you off. Just think about a mindset shift from permission-based to more of an ownership-based. And here's an example. Again, this is specific to IT, but you can relate it to whatever field that you find yourself going into. The person was a help desk technician. There's really kind of two ways to look at it. You can, if there's a problem, you can wait for this help desk ticket to come in. But another person more proactively notices that there's reoccurring password reset issues, and they create a quick reference guide. And that's the difference between just being told what to do and that ownership that I mentioned just a moment ago. But it seems obvious. They both do their job, but one takes the extra step. And most people in life do not do the extra step. And the reason that's important is today employers are looking for more of a proactive person. The more proactive you are, the more that you get noticed, and these extra steps that you're going to be putting in are going to be critical. They tend to be the ones who are chosen for special projects, put on special teams, and things like that. So these are the little things you can do to help you to stand out. Think about your world, friends, your home, at work, in sports. Don't you have people who just do enough to get by? They don't really do the extra. They just kind of do enough. We used to say back in my day, they're just skating by. But I want you to think about those types of people, and who are you more drawn to? The people who are just coasting by, or the ones who are more proactive? And as you transition into new roles and you grow deeper in your career, you're going to look for, and should look for, opportunities to take ownership of your role. How can you add value? How do you set yourself apart? Does anyone, understand that? Do you begin to understand that how important that is in life? Is setting yourself apart, for that. And you could think of an example in that situation as well. So, with a mindset shift, that really begins with before you even get hired, before the interview, all those things. Do your homework on a company, and this is critical. This means going to the company that you're either working for now, or the company or companies you want to work for, and begin to ask why. Some mindset shift. You want to review their website, review their LinkedIn, look at their press releases. This is where you go from student to employee, this mindset shift. Understanding what products and services or recent projects that they have. There may be something that has come up and why you are being hired for a role, because there's something in there. Use reviews to spot themes and not facts. I'll talk about that more in depth. But I want you to say, hey, maybe there's a problem with customer service. Maybe there's response rate problems. Maybe there's an issue, and you're being hired to help that. And the goal for you is to think about how fast can you make contributions. See, employers assume that you've already done your homework before you applied for the job and you got hired. So think about it. That means understanding what the company does, who they serve, what problems they're solving, because in your organization, you were hired to solve a problem. You aren't just there to do whatever that role is. If it was a help desk technician or a cashier or customer care representative, you were there to alleviate problems that the company has. And by doing that, you're making the situation better. Maybe you get better reviews, more market share. Happy customers means more money and new growth for the organization. So while you think you may play a small role, it's actually part of a larger pivotal role. You may not know how your role contributes to the goal of the company, and you really want to know that. And it's important because it's not just about how you get paid. Part of a mindset shift of moving from career mindset, from student mindset, is to start aligning yourself with the goals and the visions and the values of that organization that you're a part of. One way is to look at company reviews, both positive and negative. Again, what it will do is it'll help you to understand patterns. And maybe, again, as you're part of a solution. And really, I think it's going to help you be prepared for in the interview process all the way around. So again, everything we're talking about here is mindset shift and what employers expect of you. And this is really important as you move into a new role. What employers assume that you already know. And these are what we call oftentimes unwritten rules. And you may not get these on day one of your orientation. Maybe someone will pull you aside and say, hey, here's kind of the general rule of thumb. But I want you to think about some basics. Be early. 10 to 15 minutes early means on time. Now, there may be certain policies where, hey, that's the expectation, maybe more than that, maybe 20, 25 minutes. Responding promptly to messages, that's internal communications or external communications. Your customers in some organizations are classified as your internal customers, that's your coworkers, and your external customers. Owning your mistakes, taking notes, asking questions, and communicate visibly. You're going to have a ramp up time, and that's important to take the time early on to learn some of these unwritten rules. And maybe, as I said, 10 to 15 minutes is on time, but maybe in your shift work it's 30 minutes because there's more things that need to be done. Response may be different depending upon different departments, different divisions, and different expectations. But it's also important that during this ramp up time, you're a person that stands out because you're going to make mistakes. And they know that. And they know that you're not supposed to be perfect, even if you came from another company that did the very same similar thing. Their softwares are going to be different. Their standard operating procedures are going to be different. There's going to be so many things that are going to be different. But when you make a mistake, just own the mistake and look for ways to correct it. Ask questions. I can't tell you how important it is to ask questions. Making notes about what you need to do shows that you're proactive, and it helps you remember better. You can own the situation, write notes, and communicate properly about what's going on. And as you move into these new environments, taking notes, asking questions, especially on calls, on Zooms, is critical. Think back to your parents, maybe a coach, even a boss. If they had to keep telling you or telling somebody else over and over again the same thing, wouldn't it be frustrating? What do you think it conveys? What do you think it says to the employer? If you show up late, you don't respond promptly, you blame others, you don't take responsibility, you say, I don't know, even when mistakes happen. You have to keep asking the same question over and over again. Or they never know what's going on. They never communicate what the work is, what the progress is. It conveys to the employer, you really don't care. You don't care about it. And so ownership doesn't mean that you have to do everything. It just simply means that you follow through with a task, that you own it, that this is mine. Whatever that role and responsibility you were given, that's yours. And that you're accountable, that you own the outcome, whether that is. That you take initiative and you act with awareness and you go the extra mile. And it doesn't mean burning yourself out. It just means, hey, is there ways that I can make improvements? I used to have this coworker. They used to say, not my circus, not my monkeys, when things would go wrong or you needed help. And that person never really seemed to own anything or very limited offer of help. And there was an opportunity on a team that I was a part of to expand roles, and that person was considered for that project. Now, this project that I was a part of, this team that this individual potentially could be added to, required more personal involvement in projects. They had to be a part of a lot of moving project parts that sometimes fit, sometimes worked, and sometimes didn't. And there were going to be things that were outside of their control, and that mindset could not exist in that role. And so when I was asked, they said, "Do you think this person would be a good part of that team?" And I said, "No." And the reason was because they are the opposite of the things that I'm showing you right now. They didn't own the outcomes, and they didn't act with awareness and initiative, and there wasn't ownership. And those are important. You may not be responsible in your role for all parts of a project, but there are things that you will be responsible for and things you can and must do. And in those situations, you need to act with awareness. Think about how what you do or don't do will impact others, not just on your team, but other departments who may be waiting for that project completion. So it's important that you realize how much your role impacts production, customer service, sales, all kinds of things. And really that's the reminder that career readiness is those lessons that we're going through. And I'm encouraging you to take deep dives in are so critically important for you. So that's really it. Now, the example on the screen may not be relevant to your situation, but I want you to think about how and what you can do. And the reason I put this up there is I want you to start thinking about situations that you may be a part of where you're going to have to answer questions or problem solve or begin to take initiative. So I want you to think about whether this is applicable to you or not, but I want you to think about a situation where how would you handle a problem situation? And there's different ways to do it. You know, if your manager is in a meeting and there's a big problem that comes up, whether it's IT or something else, do you sit around and wait for your boss to come back, or do you do something else? Do you try to call somebody? Do you just say, "Hey, it's my lunchtime, I'm going to go to lunch"? Hopefully, you take initiative and you ask yourself, is there something that I can do in this situation that can help alleviate some problem or stressor? And so I think that's the first thing you do, is begin to take ownership. This mindset shift that we're talking about is so important. And that's really where I want to begin. Mindset, reputation, and opportunity. Your first 90 days matter. I want you to look at your situation and remember that there's a ramp-up period. And I want you to consider the fact that, you know what, I can be coached and understand that while I came from a job background that may have similarities, there's going to be a lot of newness to this. Be curious. Have confidence in what you're doing. And that curiosity over the fact that, hey, I know everything, that just says to the individuals that you're working with, I want to learn. Do your homework on your company. Be someone willing to learn. Ask questions if you don't understand. If there's a report due, or there's an update that's due, or if you were given a task, see it through to the end. Don't just do what's expected of you. Do a little bit more than what's expected of you. Now, I want to conclude right here, and I just want to say that we've gone through a lot of information so far in this evening session. And before we continue our lecture, I want to just say that this process is going to be new for a lot of you. You're not used to being in a work environment before, or if you have, you may not be a part of a corporate environment. It's important that you take time and learn the steps and skills. And a lot of what we're talking about now is mindset. Next session, we're going to talk more about the implementation of this mindset, but I wanted to step back and make sure that you understood that this first 90 days that you're at work matters. And to apply yourself and to set yourself apart, begin to use the skills that I talked about this evening in our discussion to help you stand out. I believe in you. I know you will, and I know you'll do great things. See you in the next session.